Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And this is my first impressions look on one of my favorite hoop shoes of all time. I absolutely love this shoe, performance-wise, and also how it looks. I definitely feel like, I am pretty biased because I feel like there are, as far as like tech goes, it's been improving over the years, and there's a good amount of shoes that are better performers than the Kobe 9. However, they Protroed it. And this is the Kobe 9 Elite Low Protro, and it's, Protro, if you guys didn't know, it stands for Performance Retro. So they're upgrading the cushioning setup pretty much. That's pretty much all they do. They change a couple of other things, but that's the main thing that they change up. And this shoe's freaking expensive. It retails for $210, guys. 210 bucks. It's a pretty penny. And I believe the Elite High Protro is 240 bucks, which is, what are you guys doing? Again, of course, this is the Halo colorway. It's pretty much all white besides the carbon fiber. And if you guys didn't know, the Kobe 9 debuted in February of 2014. So more than 10 years ago, guys. That's a long time. And I remember when these came out, I was like, yo, these look so good. I needed to get a pair. And I've actually never owned an Elite Low before. I've never owned this. I've only owned the Elite High and also the EM, the regular version. Right, so I'm pretty excited about that. And also, if you guys didn't know, the designer of the Kobe 9, his name is Eric Avar, and he revealed that it took him 2.5 years to design the Kobe 9, and that was around the process where Kobe tore his Achilles. He tore it in the Kobe 8, and that's also why there are these 9 kind of lines here, if you guys didn't know, right? Also in the EM, there are 9 lines signifying the stitches that you have to get when you tear your Achilles for the surgery, right? And also here for the high, which I think is a great story. But anyways, let's get it started off with the tracciones. And the traction, of course, we have this pressure map of the foot, and it's GOAT traction. GOAT traction, one of the best tractions that you can get ever, you know what I mean? Like the Kobe 9 has the greatest bite and also the hardest bite, and also a very nice loud high-pitched squeak, which of course has nothing to do with performance. But the Kobe 9 just brings back so many memories, and I'm so happy because they finally Protroed it, and I finally have my hands on a pair, right? But yeah, we have this pressure map, of course. We have the Kobe shield here in the heel. It's pretty much the exact same thing here in the regular EM model as well. But yeah, I had an amazing time playing in this shoe because of the amazing traction, right? It picked up very minimal dust, bit through dust extremely well, and if you're playing on a clean court, it has the best stop of all time, you know what I mean? So I was very excited about that, right? And then I got these in. It's a solid white rubber outsole. It's not even translucent or anything, and it's a little bit disappointing. So I got these, I put these straight on foot. I tried it on my wood floors, and it wasn't biting that well. You know what I mean? The bite's pretty good. I wouldn't even say it's terrible or bad or anything. It seems pretty solid, good. However, it doesn't seem top tier. And if I remember correctly, the Kobe 9, the original Kobe 9, I didn't have to break in at all. You know what I mean? It was just good right out the box. So I don't know, maybe I'll need to break these in, but the bite doesn't seem as good as the older versions. And also, there's no squeak. It literally does not squeak at all. And of course, again, that has nothing to do with performance, but I like to have a nice squeak. And I remember like the Kobe 9 when I got it, I was like, yo, these are so squeaky. I love it. It has an amazing bite. And that's just kind of what I remember about the Kobe 9, you know what I mean? But the Protro doesn't have any squeak, So hopefully once I break it, it starts to squeak a little bit more, but yeah, it doesn't squeak that loud. And again, that has nothing to do with performance, but just for nostalgia reasons, and I definitely feel like a lot of people love the Kobe 9s because of the amazing traction and loud squeak, which the Protro doesn't really have right now, right? Also for durability, probably not the best option, especially since this is a freaking expensive ass shoe, but also the grooves are very, very thin. And yeah, do not play with these outdoors because it'll just eat through the outsole, right? So yeah, we'll have to see on how these break in, but the traction definitely, it's not feeling terrible or anything. It's feeling pretty good actually, but just not GOAT status like the original Kobe 9 was. So that's definitely a little bit of a bummer, right? Now moving on to the heel to toe transition. Also, that's one thing I really didn't like about the Kobe 9s, right? So here in the heel, it's literally just rubber and plastic, right? Also, we have these carbon fiber panels, 2 on the lateral side and 1 here in the heel. Here in the heel, there's no exposed midsole like the Kobe 8. The Kobe 8 had an exposed midsole, which actually allowed for a little bit of compression. It also made it so that it wasn't super clunky. But here in the 9s, boot-like. It's pretty flat shaped as well. So when you're doing heel dominant strides down the court, it's freaking clunky here in the heel. And it's the same thing here in the Kobe 9 Elite and also the regular Kobe EM. Even though there's no carbon fiber, it's just plastic. It's just rubber and plastic here. You know what I mean? So yeah, clunky here in the heel. Coming into the forefoot, we do have a nice curved shape, and I really like how flexible it is. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I really liked about you know, the Kobe 9 is just very, very flexible, not super springy. But yeah, same thing here in the original Kobe 9 Elite, right? Super flexible. I would say this is actually even a little bit more flexible. I could literally just do it with my pinky. The Protros are a little bit stiffer, it feels like. I have to put a little bit more force. That probably has to do with the React. But yeah, heel to toe transition, pretty much exactly the same, besides it being a little bit stiffer here in the forefoot for the Protros. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. So that's what they changed up. That's the biggest difference. And of course, we do have a drop-in midsole. And one thing that I love about drop-in midsoles is there's no strobe board and your foot is right on top of the foam, which makes the step-in comfort really, really nice, right? So the biggest difference is the foam that they use, right? It still says Kobe, right? It says Kobe here on the Protro and also on the original drop-in midsole in the Kobe 9. It says Kobe here. But of course on the medial side, it says React because this is React foam. But then on the original, they were using Lunarlon. It says Lunarlon on the drop-in midsole on the original Kobe 9, right? Now also nothing that is different is the pattern here in the forefoot, right? So in the original Kobe 9, we have kind of like a dimpled pattern. And that also was sticky, right? The overall texture of the Lunarlon was sticky as well, so grab your sock. It improves the lockdown a lot. But then this is a very raised kind of like diamond shape almost, you know what I mean? And there's a good amount of it here in the forefoot and here in the heel, and it just grabs your sock and it feels really nice for lockdown, which I really do appreciate. But also nothing that I love about drop-in midsoles is that there is a raised sidewall on the lateral side of the shoe, which does improve the lateral containment, of course. So you have a nice little kind of sidewall right there, plus also the outside of the shoe, which is great for lateral support, right? But also it is pretty different in how it feels, right? So first of all, React is a lot softer and also a lot bouncier than Lunarlon. Lunarlon is just soft, especially once you first get it, but once you break it in, it does get the impact protection isn't great, right? So here in the Kobe 9, if you're doing hard heel strikes, hard impacts, after bottoming out the Lunarlon drop-in, it's just not good. It hurts my feet, you know what I mean? But here in the React, the step-in comfort is definitely a lot nicer. It's softer, and there seems to be a little bit more bounce, especially here in the heel. However, it definitely is higher up off the ground, a lot higher up off the ground actually, right? So the Kobe 9, you know, the EM and also the Elite High have really good court feel, right? Because of the Lunarlon is super thin, right? But the React also is pretty thin, but it's definitely a lot thicker than the Lunarlon. So it still has pretty good court feel. I would say it's slightly better than average, but it's definitely higher up off the ground than this, right? And also it does affect the fit a little bit, which we'll get into, but honestly, I don't mind it all too much because, you know, the Lunarlon was really bad, and especially for impact protection, which I just explained. So yeah, it definitely feels like, you know, this is going to have better impact protection, better bounce, and also it's a little bit better for step-in comfort right now. We'll have to see on, you know, of course, how it bottoms out and how it breaks in and all that, but right now it definitely does feel like a little bit of an improvement besides the worst core feel, but again, it's not that bad. So also, again, like I said, I don't like the clunkiness here in the heel. There is no compression, so I definitely wish, as far as the overall design goes, they added something here, you know, as far as like an overall midsole, but you wouldn't have this amazing carbon fiber design. So anyways, there is the cushion there. Moving on to the upper. So yes, we do have Flyit. They brought Flyit back, and yeah, I mean, Flyit back then, 10 years ago, you guys remember the Flyit racers? And then of course they used a Flyit here for the first time. I believe it was the first time in the Kobe 9 Elites, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, however. But Either way, it does feel pretty dang nice. However, it does feel a little bit glued down, which is weird, you know what I mean? But of course, Flyit isn't the most supportive upper, especially making it this thin, so it does make sense to overall make it a little bit more supportive to glue it down. But anyways, here in the forefoot, we have this really nice pattern, right? It's a little bit difficult to see if they changed it as far as the overall kind of like Flyit design goes, but it doesn't really seem like they did, you know? It's a little bit hard because it's all white here in the Protro, and then obviously this is dual tone, so either way, it feels a little bit kind of flimsy, as in like a little bit glued down, you know, but it's thin, it's very, very supportive, and comforts your foot somewhat well. However, there are some pinching spots right here, right where the Flyit bends, and also here on the medial side too. It's just a tiny bit, you know what I mean? And also for the swoosh, we have this kind of like plastic swoosh with an iridescent glow to it, which looks amazing. It's on the lateral and medial sides of the shoe, which is different from the original Kobe 9, which was just 3M. So I like how they changed that up. And then moving here into the heel, we have kind of like this synthetic material that kind of goes around the heel, and we have the Kobe shield on it, which is a nice subtle detail. You can't really see it until you get really close to the shoe. And then of course here in the back, we have the Kobe shield as well in this plastic, as well as 9 kind of lines for you know, the stitches. You know, 9 for the Kobe 9, and then the stitches for of course his injury. And then for the tongue, we have a very large tongue, right? You guys remember the tongue. We have his signature here on top, as well as the Kobe shield. And then we actually have a good amount of padding, right? It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And it kind of attaches to this mesh material that goes underneath this Flyit. You know what I mean? So it's basically a double layered material that goes from the midfoot all the way here into the forefoot. And then here in the ankle area, we actually have a good bit of padding. It feels pretty nice and cozy. And that's a little bit different from the EM material. The EM, I feel like maybe it's because this shoe is old. This foam is probably a little bit thin from pretty heavy use, but the Protro, because it is new, here on the sides and also in the back of the shoe, we have a good bit of padding, right? So overall, it does feel very, very nice for the quality. Also, you guys remember the fly wire? The fly wire goes around the laces and also through the Flyit, which is a great kind of design. You know, it looks awesome. It adds a little bit of support. And I definitely miss that, you know what I mean? Fly wire, they used to use in all their hoop shoes, but now they don't, you know? But yeah, of course, the quality is great. I love how the Flyit it just looks and also feels. It just feels a little bit glued down, a little bit stiff. So there is the material there. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size, and I went literally the exact same size as the EM and also the Elites, right? And these are freaking tight, right? So just be careful with the fit, because I'm guessing they literally probably kept the entire shoe the exact same, right? The upper and how it's designed, but obviously with the cushioning setup, it's thicker and you're higher up off the ground. And because of that, here in the toe box, it's, oh my goodness, it's so tight. I can't curl my toes up at all, right? And obviously I was walking around in this shoe and this shoe at the same time, and this shoe and this shoe at the same time. And these are so much more loose here in the toe box, and it's not even like super roomy, it's just looser. And also here in the Elite highs as well, and I can curl my toes up in these, obviously, right? And this one I can't at all, and that's how snug it is here in the toe box. Lengthwise, I'm good to go, going true to size. And also widthwise, it's so freaking narrow too, right? And it's narrow where my pinky toe is, and also my ring toe, and it's squeezing pretty good. So I feel like I could have gone up half a size, you know what I mean? And I did switch the drop-in midsoles, and it was tighter in this shoe when I put this drop-in midsole in this shoe, and it was looser in this shoe when I put this drop-in midsole in the Elite Lows. So yeah, it has everything to do with the brand new drop-in midsole. And I don't know what they were thinking. If you're gonna make it thicker, it's gonna be a tighter fit. So why would you not change that up? You know what I mean? Especially here in the toe box. So if you don't want that, probably go up half a size, right? And of course, we'll have to see on how everything breaks in, of course, right? Is the dropping going to get a little bit, you know, thinner when I plane it and break it in? And also, is the Flyit going to get a little bit looser and stuff like that? Of course, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, for my first impressions, it's extremely snug, right? And the length is fine though. Length is okay. It's just here in the toe box, super snug, width-wise, super narrow. So yeah, that kind of sucks, right? And now moving on to the support and lockdown. I mean, yeah, the Kobe's have never had any issues with that, right? So first of all, like I said, with that texture on the drop-in, it's grabbing my sock, which feels amazing. Also, we have that raised sidewall on the lateral side of the drop-in. And also on the outside of the shoe, we have the rubber coming up and also this plastic and carbon fiber here in the midfoot and heels. So lateral containment, amazing, right? Also lateral stability, we do have a little bit of an outrigger, and it's also, there's no compression here, right? It's all plastic, so there's no midsole to compress to make it soft and make it feel laterally unstable. So lateral stability is really good in the original Kobe 9, and I'm not worried at all with this shoe. And heel lockdown feels really good too. You know what I mean? Like all Kobe's have a really nice cupping for the foam here in the back of the shoe, where it just really locks down your heel. And that's literally every single Kobe. So yeah, support and lockdown feels really good, right? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. I'm a little bit curious, right? I mean, Kobe's are really, really light usually, but the Protros, 12.3 ounces. That's like average weight, which kind of sucks. And if you compare it with the Kobe 9 EM, the Kobe 9 EM is 11.1 ounces. So the EM is a lot lighter. And then let's check it, comparing it to the Elite Highs, 12.95 ounces, pretty much 13 ounces. So yeah, that kind of sucks as far as the overall weight goes, but it's just average weight, pretty much a little bit lighter than average. But it doesn't feel super responsive right now because of traction, you know, comparing it to the original Kobe 9s, right? And also because the React is a lot softer and also a good amount thicker than the original Kobe 9s, it doesn't feel as responsive as well because of that. So that kind of sucked, and the Protro definitely doesn't feel like it's living up to the original Kobe 9 right now as far as my first impressions go, you know? But of course, aesthetically, this is the most beautiful hoop shoe in my personal opinion. Right, one of the best looking hoop shoes ever, you know, and especially this colorway, this all white, looks amazing with the black carbon fiber. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, I was super duper excited, and I love that I have this shoe. But first of all, the fit, I definitely will not be wearing these casually because of how freaking tight the toe box is, how freaking tight the fit is. So that kind of sucks because for my casual shoes, I like to have a little bit more of a looser fit. But also performance wise, it's the cushion is definitely a little bit of an upgrade, but also in some areas a little bit of a downgrade. And also the traction just isn't feeling amazing right now, which kind of sucks. I'm a little bit disappointed in that, you know what I mean? Because the Kobe 9, the original Kobe 9 had just GOAT traction, you know? But again, I'm gonna need to play in the Protros and see how it breaks in and all that. But for my first impressions, feeling a little bit of a disappointment, you know what I mean? So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Nike Kobe 9 Elite Low Protro. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.